Hey everyone, welcome back to the final edition of the Broken Shifter podcast. For now, we'll discuss that more later. I'm Hurdon.
I'm Carbon.
I'm Caboose.
I'm here.
Yep,
Damn it.
nobody knows your name. So we had our race at Homestead, which was a decent race. But first we want to talk about the fact that all three manufacturers managed to win a championship this weekend with Breast Moffat. Yeah, there we
With
go.
breasts.
Well,
There's one going in.
This is off to the races. Oh man.
No.
Oh.
Races are over.
Breast.
Sorry,
Outfit. And that one's on camera or on audio there too.
On camera.
Yeah, whatever we're on.
Yeah. So Brett
fuck.
Moffitt in a Toyota in the truck series, Tyler Reddick for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity series in a Chevy, and the Cup series via what I would consider an upset, Joey Logano in a Ford, which is, I believe, their first championship in a while. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
It is
Think
the
last time
first
was-
4 championships since Matt Kenseth.
Yep.
Sunday.
And how long ago was that? That was back, what, like 2005,
2000.
6?
5, somewhere in that
Should have
area.
been a
Captain
long
Google,
time.
get on it.
Okay, boss.
Because I know Kurt Busch was before Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, Kurt Busch was earlier, I believe. When he was with Roush driving the
2004.
97? 2004. Okay, fair enough.
So it's been
I've been
14
replaced.
years since
Ford
has won
had
a
a championship.
Because at the
And
time
Jimmy
when Brad
Johnson's
Keselowski
won
was-
7 by himself.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
they
no,
were Dodge.
I pulled a Fox that was fake news. I believe it's 2003.
2000 what?
2003.
Okay,
Well,
so
1 year.
15 years.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Johnson's won 7 since then, so that's embarrassing
Don't
for
worry,
Ford,
we
but
do
they're
our-
coming back.
We do our research prior.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yeah, not really. Stage
Oh, wait, no,
winners, Caboose.
so- He wasn't the last one. Sorry, that was Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch was the last.
I could have sworn Kurt
Last
Busch
Ford.
was before.
No, because he was also. He was 2004, driving for Jack Roush.
Huh.
So but they went back to back, Matt Kenseth and Kurt
Yep,
Busch.
Yep, and then it went Stewart.
they
then
both-
just a whole slew of Chevrolets until Dodge.
That was a that was when Roush was good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
so
then they forgot.
Caboose, give me a stage winner.
We got Harvick in stage 1, Larson in stage 2, and Joe Lowe with the race win.
There you go. And Larson could have played spoiler possibly, but he didn't
Kinda
work out
Tried his
that way.
hardest.
Hamlin had a good car early on. Chase had a good car-ish. Larson was very fast up on that high lane, but as we all know, if you drive the high lane of track, it can get treacherous, and every once in a while you make a mistake or something like that. Larson did a good job. Brad
Cannot
was
be
fast.
perfect.
You can't be perfect when it's a track that it has a faster high lane, but the low lane seemed to be working fairly well throughout the race. And Matt Kenseth, shout out to him. And his return to Homestead, Miami Speedway, he got a 6th. So, do you think Roush
And
is
what could
finding
be
some
his
speed? Yeah.
last career start ever.
Yeah. I'm impressed with what Roush has been, because Roush used to be one of the top 3 teams, and they seem to be finding some speed with Stenhouse. I don't think they were ever going to find it with Trevor Bayne, but Kenseth has done a decent job. But let's face it, he's not the man he once was as far as driving. I mean, we're seeing that with Jimmy Johnson now. So, for him to get sixth, that just shows that program is improving, and I'd like to see six like major teams, battling it out on a regular basis instead of just your. And Hendrick's been struggling instead of just JGR and it's Stewart Haas and Penske.
I will say this. Kansas did get that a little bit on a lucky strategy, following suit with Kyle Busch on staying out and hoping for a caution.
Yeah, which worked out.
Yep.
So it wasn't
I
pure speed, but it
believe-
was enough speed on fresh tires to keep par.
I can't refresh my memory because I might be wrong. Was it Chase that caught the lucky break and then sped down pit road?
At Phoenix.
That
yeah.
was last week, wasn't
Phoenix?
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
This
anyhow,
week Chase was
he
just
still
kind
had a
of
good
there.
season.
He was
Yeah, he
there,
was
but
hanging
not-
around.
He wasn't the fastest car, but I mean, let's be fair here. If had he won last week or something like that and made it in, they would have worked on the car probably a lot more than they did, and so who knows? But
So I wanted to add one thing into this. When Joey won his race during the round of 8, Truex guaranteed Logano wouldn't win a championship. But he didn't wreck him or really get ugly with him. Do you think that was a respectful move, or do you think he just didn't live up to his word?
I think he just missed his opportunity,
Yeah.
or was waiting for the wrong opportunity to do so, and just missed it in the end
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, Logano's
think if
car
he
though,
was-
was fast. I think
Yes,
it was
it was.
scary fast. I
First
was
30
half
laps, that
expecting a
thing was a
penalty
fucking
after
rocket.
the race was over. I seriously was.
How many races did
Expected
Logano
him
win this
to
year?
get penalized.
2?
One.
Just 2?
Can you
Okay.
repeat that, Hurdon?
I said, how many races did Logano win this year? I think it was just 2.
Yeah, he won. No, he won 3. He won Talladega. He won Richmond, or not Richmond. What the fuck was it? The first race of the round of 8.
Texas?
No.
No,
Texas
Texas was
was
the
in the last.
second.
I don't.
Whatever
Martinsville?
the first race of the round of 8 playoff was, that's what
Martinsville.
Logano won, because he was able to just
Yeah.
cruise to Homestead,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was Martinsville.
and then
Okay. So,
Yeah, Martinsville.
He
and then
won Homestead.
So 3 races.
so let's discuss one other thing in here real quick. I know this is going to be a long podcast, but guess what? If you're listening to it, get over it. So Penske, what clicked with them all of a sudden going into the playoffs? Because Brad took off going into the playoffs, and we were highly expecting him to, I think we all had him picked to make the champ. Well, all but Caboose had him picked to go to the championship 4, and Caboose made the right choice. What clicked with Penske? For Logano to get 2 wins, Brad won in the chase. I mean, something special happened there.
It was, to me,
It's-
I would say it was 1/3 equipment, or 1/4 equipment, 1/4 driver, and 2/3 of just right calls at the right time.
Fair enough.
Throughout this year, Penske was kind of hit or miss. They'd had their hot weeks, and then they'd have their not so hot weeks. Where,
Well, it was hard
all
to keep
three-
up with
all-
any Toyota or Kevin Harvick all year.
that too.
Yeah.
But they had their
But,
weeks where all 3 drivers were, kicking ass and taking names, and then there was ones like, who?
Yep. They had a doldrum in the middle of the season, but I was impressed with what
Menard
Penske
was
did to
even doing
manage
good.
to get up there, and I wasn't expecting Logano to be a factor in that race, but I think they dumped all the resources that Penske had, extra money, whatever,
definitely.
into Logano's car, and
Yeah.
it paid off. So
Yeah, you can tell since they won Martinsville, they were just working on the car, and that's it.
Yeah. So one fun thing also. Apparently last year Hamlin also said Logano would not win a championship. I can't remember what race it was after, but it was either last year or the year before. And
It was. I think it was the year before. Last year it was Chase.
Yeah. No, I don't think he ever said that Chase wouldn't win a championship, but
No, I think Chase said he wouldn't.
no. But no, Hamlin has said that before, like within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And apparently, the year before Brad won a championship, he said the same thing about Brad. So maybe if Hamlin
Denny
can,
needs.
oh, and guess who doesn't have a
Yeah.
championship?
Yeah, I
would
think he's
think with
finished
some-
twice, or second before though.
Yeah, he's gotten close to a couple
think he'd get one in
championships, but you would think
10,000
with someone
races.
with 10,000 races underneath their belt, they would be a little bit better than that.
10,000.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
It,
It's a thing.
Oh.
If you remember,
Hamlin claims that he's
actually,
raced.
yeah, Hurdon doesn't remember this. When Hamlin
What?
fucking wrecked Chase, he put out an apology letter, or at least someone did, in his name at
Twitter.
GGR.
No, it was on Twitter. It was
And-
on his Twitter account.
Well, yeah, it was on Twitter, but it was an apology letter.
Uh-huh.
And it said, "I'm sorry that this happened. You think with someone with as much experience as myself, with 10,000 races underneath my belt, or over 10,000 races, I would be better than this. My apologies." Is basically what it said.
I mean, I would not. Yeah, that's.
10,000.
I don't know
races
about
is a whole lot much.
10,000. If he was racing every single day, how many years would that take? Is it 30 years?
365 days a year.
Let's take
times
30 years.
that
27
by-
years.
27
Every
years.
single day of racing.
Yeah.
I mean,
no. So I know
10,000
Denny
for
raced a
him,
lot because
I
he
don't know
raced
how old
out
he
at my
is.
local track. He's
He
in
didn't
his
race every
early
single
30s.
day.
No.
Well,
It-
Yeah,
He
official races. Let's say back when he was younger, he was racing every day, probably as a kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Probably through his early teens. Then you get to
Yeah.
Xfinity and stuff like that. Plus, he's still doing other races on the side. I think
Mm-hmm.
10,000 is a bit of a stretch, but I would honestly say
I'd say it
I
probably
could definitely believe over
5,000.
5,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
6,000 I
Yeah.
could definitely believe.
Because
And you know, at
if
that
I
point,
remember
it feels
correctly,
like you probably raced 10,000 races.
yeah. If I
league
remember
for that
correctly, he
long, any
won
league.
two track championships down at Langley Speedway, and he was running numerous other tracks at the time, and running multiple divisions. So,
And
yeah,
you
he's
have your
probably
races where you're
exaggerating by a
racing
tiny
multiple
bit.
races in a day.
Yeah, I mean, that people do it down at Langley.
It's very
they
possible.
run multiple divisions. I mean, if you run 4 races in a day every time, I guess so. but
It is possible that
he ain't
he
done that in the
could
Cup
have
Series.
actually ran 10,000 races. He might. Who knows? He may have been down at the go-kart track like when he was younger, every single day, doing multiple races throughout the day.
Just after
What,
school,
like
just
10 a
fuck
day?
homework. I'm doing this shit.
As
Yeah,
far as
there you
NASCAR
go.
races go, yeah, he's not even in that
Yeah,
ballpark. Maybe a couple
no.
hundred.
Yeah, I'd say, let's see, I think Dale Sr. had like somewhere under 700. So, yeah, but he ain't got
Dale
10,000.
Senior
in
probably
NASCAR.
definitely ran 10,000 races. I would not put it past him. He raced.
Yeah.
I feel like the numbers.
He raced into his 50s, but anyhow, let's get on
And
to our picks for the championship. Go ahead, Amp.
Talking about Hamlin, there's a good chance that him and his crew chief will no longer be together for 2019.
They struggled this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of crew chief and driver separations. Jimmy
Chad
and
Canals.
his crew chief.
Yep.
That's surprising.
Truex is going with them.
Yep.
And that's a good call.
Yeah. Very good call.
So it's essential. I think Truex,
So,
he needs his whole team. If they can manage to get that as much of that team as possible and to go with back to where are they at, Charlotte, I assume. That's where they're going to be going now.
Yeah, they're moving.
yeah.
to
Sucks for all those
the
people,
Nelson
though,
car
who live
back
in
in
Denver, have those jobs.
Yep.
Now they're going to have to go find new jobs or move to Charlotte to be able to get one.
But the
Yeah,
nice thing
I
is
mean,
the
when
owner
you-
of Furniture Racing did offer a good amount of the guys back at the shop a job at Furniture Row.
And he'll even
Yeah.
teach them and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So, anyhow, our picks for the championship for both of my championship picks got knocked out in the round of 8, I believe. And
Yeah, you had Brad and Chase.
and
Or
Brad and Chase were
and
my
then he got knocked out. So you swapped him to
Yeah.
Chase. He got knocked
Yeah.
out. So you were left with Kyle Busch, Harvick, and Logano.
And I
so
did
you-
have the championship winner, and I had 3 left
Yep.
in the championship for it.
And then I had Kyle Busch, MTJ, Harvick as my championship pick. And then I also had Brad, who I then swapped to Logano when he got knocked out. So I'm the only one that had my final 4 intact, but at the same time, one of them was a change. Caboose had Kyle Busch, Harvick as his championship pick, Boyer and Chase. Caboose was the only one that didn't have somebody knocked out. Well, Brad knocked out at one point, so he kept all 4 of his intact and never changed it, but he lost 2 of them. And then Amp had Truex with Harvick as his winner, Kyle Busch, and then also Brad, who got knocked out, who he swapped for Boyer, who then got knocked out as well. So overall, I had 4 picks as a whole. Caboose had 2 with never changing. Hurdon had 3 intact, and Amp had 3. No one had the correct window though.
Now, what would
And-
happen had we not had you guys do the switch?
Mine would have been the same.
Hurdon's would have been the same, Amp's would have been the same, yours would have been the same, obviously, and mine would have just lost 1 driver.
Yeah. So me,
So,
Amp, and Justin would have had a 3-way tie, and you would have. No, we. Yeah, that would, and then you would have had 2.
Yeah, basically.
But me and Carbon
But Hurdon
did
would
have
only-
Logano
yeah, would have been
on
the
our
only one
list.
with Logano.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know.
So no, I don't think
We
anybody
didn't
was
assign
expecting.
points or anything.
No.
Because we were also running.
Nobody was
fantasy.
expecting Joey to win.
We'll let
He
you.
wasn't
the
one of the
viewers,
big winners.
real quick. We'll let you, the viewers, decide who won in that aspect. Because I didn't switch, and I made it all the way to the round of 8 with all my drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, you made it all the way to the round of 8. If we actually had a point system placed on this, and as far as final points go, even giving Caboose like a bonus point or something like that, I probably would have
Yeah.
won because I had I had all 4 of my drivers intact at the very end, with 1 change. But
As for the
if we
playoffs,
would have gone after like some sort of
fantasy.
overall playoff system,
Yeah,
Caboose probably would have gotten the bonus points for making it all the way to the round of 8, plus not changing. So
I think I would have got some bonus points for having Logano at least on my roster.
You
in
would've
the
gotten
first
a
and I guess
couple
we
points.
never. We never did
Yeah.
ask him last week if he wanted to change. I didn't even think about it. If he wanted to change one of his, like just take Boyer or Chase out and throw somebody else in, but at that point it was kind of too late anyway. So
Yeah. Anyhow, let's see what we
On to
got.
fantasy.
but yeah, fantasy.
So we're a
I'm
bit
not
of
gonna
an
be part of
impasse
this.
here on fantasy.
Well, hang on. Let me explain it real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I was just letting everyone know.
fantasy was pretty simple. They changed it up this year from last year. This year it's where you pick 5 drivers and a garage driver. You get a limited number of uses in the regular season with each driver, and then you can swap in your
Time
garage
out.
driver before stage 2 ends. What?
You might want to make it clear what website fantasy was through this year.
NASCAR's on NASCAR's website, the official fantasy game.
There you go.
Nobody uses that Yahoo shit anymore. Come on.
Yeah, but
And
there's a bunch of different other ones.
nobody uses the other shitty ones. No, I don't know. That's what we're seeing. But no.
Because some of them actually pay out.
We ain't gambling.
Yeah, well, I guess this one does too, but you gotta actually like pretty much get every single pick right all year long or something like that. But so
I
what
got
happened?
a $10 gift card from NASCAR for last year
Oh, nice. Yeah.
for being
Yeah,
in the top
remember
1%.
Yep. So yeah, so basically, yeah, you just pick your 5 drivers each week, limited number of uses. You pick your qualifying, stage 1, 2, race winner, and race winner manufacturer. And then for the playoffs, there's no limitations to how many drivers you can use, but you have to use 2 playoff drivers. Or was it? Yeah, it's 2 playoff drivers.
You get two playoff drivers, 2 non-playoff drivers, and then your garage could be whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you also pick a championship. Have a championship pick,
Right at the
and you
beginning.
get points based on that. So in regular season, I ended with in first place with 4,657 points. Amp had 4,572. Caboose had 44.63, and Hurdon, you had 42.76. I think you missed one race.
Before this.
No, I didn't
before
pick
the
for the
season.
last 3 races.
Yeah.
No, in the regular season. There was
Yeah.
you
Oh
missed one
yeah,
race. I think.
I did miss one race. Yeah.
Yeah.
The domination.
Let's be
wasn't
fair
there
here.
for
That
me
would
this
not have
year.
set you back 400 points though.
Yeah, I think you missed a
I
few
don't remember what
during
race
the
it
regular
was,
season.
No, he only missed one during regular season. During the playoffs, he missed the last 3 because he gave up on it. Now with the playoffs,
Well, I forgot. I was busy doing something, and I just forgot to make the picks earlier in the week.
yeah, with the playoffs, Hurdon ended with 821 points in last. Caboose had 1,298. I had 1,454, and Amp finished first with 1,465. Overall, oh wow, he's changed.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, okay, never mind. I misread it. Okay, so overall, Hurdon finished with just over 5,000. Caboose finished with over 5,700. Amp finished with 6,037, and I finished with 611 or 6,111.
6-1-11.
So, overall, I won. Amp won the playoffs.
And here's
So this
the
is where the
interesting
debate
part.
comes in.
I won
You know,
Homestead.
I didn't feel the need to repeat as champion
Silence.
because last. All right, anybody who doesn't watch this on a
y'all
regular
smell that?
basis or a new viewer,
I smell bullshit.
all year, all I heard,
go.
all year, all I heard was, "I'm quitting. This is dumb. I'm quitting. This is dumb. Hurdon's cheating."
Hey, I started out like 400, 500 points behind
Yeah.
after the first like 5 or 6 races. So I seriously
And you
thought I
finished
was done.
3,000 points behind.
What?
What?
I had almost double points last year than
No, I'm
second
talking
place.
about this season.
I know. I don't care. I'm talking about last season. I'm reliving
No one
the
cares
glory
about
moments.
last season.
Oh, who cares
living
about
in the
last
past.
season?
Everybody
No
No one
about
cares
last
that the
season.
Bears used to be great. The only people that care about the Bears used to be great are people from Chicago. Trust me, I fucking know this. No one else gives a
Unfortunately, they're great
shit.
this year again. Well, not great, they're good. But anyways,
I don't know.
no, so I think we can all agree, though. Well, Amp, Caboose, and I can agree. Hurdon lost.
Yes.
No matter
That's
which
the
one is
important
actually
thing
right.
about fantasy.
That's the
Hurdon
important
lost.
part. Now, the other part. I don't think Caboose won. Because if you get technical with this, there was only 4 of us. Would you really have made the championship in
Yes.
3rd place? Because there's not a championship
No.
4 in our league. There's not 40 drivers.
It's a fair
seating.
point.
But I won Homestead. Regardless or not, I was.
Doesn't matter.
in
And I won the
race.
playoffs.
If
your
Larson
point.
would have won, he wouldn't have won the championship.
Hey, I
So
was
we
still
can
in
all
it, so-
agree that since Amp won the playoffs,
You were not in it. You weren't even close to being in it in the
Who-
points wise. You were like 300
Yeah.
points behind.
if Amp won the playoffs, Amp's the champion. Justin had the most points. Amp won this style playoff, and Justin Carbon won the old style playoffs, which
Nah,
were
because
playoffs.
I honestly
just the whole season.
I'm gonna count myself as winning because
Because
I'm
it's
gonna
you.
go back to no, I'm gonna go back to the old rules of NASCAR, where points wins.
Yeah, that's what I said. You won the old style, but that's not what we're racing anymore.
Oh, but Mr. Living in the past here. Wait a minute
Yeah, that's
here.
1 year in the past, not 20 years.
I'm gonna do so much editing to this
20 years.
fucking podcast. I'm gonna insert the bit of Tony Stewart where he's going, "I don't give a shit about the old playoffs, but that's not what we're running anymore."
That if this was the old system, you'd be running away with it. Is that something?
Yeah, but
you
it's
even,
not the old system.
I mean, do you
so
guys
why are
even
we talking about the old system?
Well, I didn't
we
even-
don't. In case you didn't know, we haven't used that system for 5 years now. So why are we talking about the old system?
Well,
Who
that's what I was
cares?
going to ask you. I mean, do you even?
No, you guys are the ones that bring it up. We don't care. We know what the system is.
Who fucking cares about it? We haven't run that in 4 years.
I'm
Now,
a
at one
Michigan
point-
fan. I live in the past.
Yeah, especially after that blowout the other day. Anyways,
Yeah,
let's move on
Murder
from
you.
fantasy and hope they go back to the old style of fantasy next year. That way I can win again.
Wait, Hurdon. Jeff Gordon
What?
sat here in this very spot.
You gonna have one of your guys pick the chair up?
Anyways, so Ford's changing cars next year. How do you think their performance will be with the Mustang?
Oh, actually, I think they're gonna be pretty good with it.
Yeah, they didn't change too many aspects of the
It doesn't
car.
look that much different. It
Yeah.
really doesn't.
They minimalized the amount of changes that they did.
After seeing
because
what
they
Chevy
knew.
boo-booed on.
And Toyota, they even had an issue when they brought in the new car, but they figured it out a lot faster than Chevrolet did.
When's Toyota going to the Supra?
They're going
this year for
Supra
Xfinity.
for Xfinity next year.
I got you.
This year, next year, same difference.
So they're probably. I don't see them going to change Cup Series until 2020, probably. But that's just me.
Well, the rumor mill is swirling about Nissan and Dodge. Dodge trying to get back into NASCAR in 2020, and Nissan trying to break into NASCAR during 2020. What do y'all think about having 5 manufacturers? You think it will create more competition or just create a mess?
Well, with Dodge has always been still in NASCAR, at least for the Xfinity Series. Not a huge name, but they just retired their last car this past weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last Dodge and Xfinity.
And it's been-
I mean, they were a pretty big name at one point.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying they're
the
not
last
like
few years.
no one knew. If you didn't pay attention off track, or like looked at Reddit or anything like that, you really would not have known that Dodge was still in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
So,
it'll create a lot more opportunities for the smaller teams because they'll have the bonus of the manufacturers.
the
helping them.
manufacturers.
Yeah.
Yeah, full on attention. I think Nissan would dump a lot of money into it. And I think the last race in the Cup Series for Dodge was Keselowski's championship, if I remember correctly, at Homestead.
Cup car, yeah.
So they went out on a
Especially
good
having
note.
these
but
outsiders
apparently-
coming in though.
Yeah, so, yeah, Toyota broke that mold.
But
I think
I'd be
5
happy to see
manufacturers
5.
be good.
Yeah.
I would
I
too.
mean-
I think it would give more attention to other teams.
Japan takes its racing very seriously, so
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and
And,
Nissan's come a long way as a
Chevrolet's
manufacturer.
been doing it lately, but hopefully they can get it going next year a little bit better.
And if you remember correctly, Hurdon, Justin, Amp, not so much because you guys didn't really watch it much back then, but
Oh,
the
what?
mid to early 2000s, when Pontiac was still around, having 5 manufacturers
Yeah.
on the track made shit interesting, especially
Yes,
at
yes,
like
it did.
Talladega and Daytona.
Yep. And I believe that's what Joe Gibbs Racing ran. I think that's Bobby
Yes.
Labonte won a championship in
Yep.
Pontiac in an 18 car,
Uh,
in fact.
Who was it? It was also Tony Stewart won I think he was the last one with Pontiac.
Yep.
That
won a
sounds
championship.
accurate. Yeah, and then Roush switched to Ford.
Yep.
I thought Roush
Or,
was always Ford.
Not Roush.
I was going to say.
Not what I'm going to say Roush. He was for Joe Gibbs. Then they switched to Chevy and then to Toyota. And JGR can't make up their minds. Maybe there'll be a Nissan in 2020.
Not with the amount of TRD help they're getting.
No.
Fucking hell.
Jesus. That team's going to be ugly next year with having Truex on board. Have we
one less
discussed
car to
that
pay for.
previously? Have we discussed the Truex move to the 19, I guess it's going to be?
Brought it up just a hair. Yeah, Truex moving to the 19 team, bring a majority of whatever team they could with them, such as Cole Pern, with one of his restrictions in his contract being that he must be allowed to wear T-shirts at the track.
And it was accepted.
No, he's a good crew chief. So what drivers are currently without a ride, real quick?
Jamie Mack, he has the offer for the 500 with Chip Ganassi, but that's about it. He's offered a more internal role than Chip Ganassi, but he's still debating on it. We got Kurt Busch, who says he has something in the pipeline, but nothing definitive right now. We
It's
got
more than likely the
Dangling,
one car.
booted from the 47. And,
Well, face it, Chris Buescher's outrunning Allmendinger, and Chris
Yeah.
Buescher has less experience. I mean, Chris Buescher put that car in the top 20 a lot this year.
Yep. For Chris Buescher, it was a good year for him. Newman has been announced going to the 6 car for Roush for next year.
Now he's going to be even harder to pass.
Yeah. And not because he's faster, it's because his ass is slower.
He has a significant he's got a disadvantage because his neck weighs so much.
Shit, there's another one that we're... Swervez. We have no news on Swervez.
All right, so that's it for the drivers. We're gonna do a couple of more Broken Shifter podcasts. It might be renamed. We've got some ideas for just us sitting here bullshitting around, and we got some ideas for other things that could possibly happen in the future. But as far as right now, we'll have one for a 2018 accolades award ceremony kind of deal, where we'll all vote.
What do we call it?
and
Superlatives or something, which I think was a dumb name.
Superlatives. Yes. Yeah. That's what they are.
Nobody's ever going to
Superlatives
search for that.
Yeah, I know.
We
We
just
just
Google
call
or
it-
YouTube search superlatives.
Yeah. Let's
Man,
let's
I
go ahead and
tell
call
you
it the
what, I
award
can't
Need to
spell
use
that
ceremony.
buzzwords like fucking... I don't know, Angelina
boobs?
Jolie naked.
Like fucking? Okay.
Caboose and me went down the same road on that one. It's the-
He went down
Well,
the top
I
three.
hate
boobs.
PewDiePie because that gets a lot of fucking views.
and we're gonna have.
Why I love PewDiePie. Why we love Fortnite.
Yeah. Oh God.
Why
Let's
we
tag
hate
Fortnite in
Fortnite.
this.
And we have now
Yes,
officially
we'll do
lost
that video.
We have officially
got,
lost the half viewer that we had.
Yeah. The person
all
that
hate
just turns
Fortnite.
it on. To
Don't worry.
walk away. Yeah. We're gonna have a pre-Daytona podcast to update on news and stuff like that, and I guess we could probably do picks and stuff like that. I guess that'll probably be during speed weeks or something like that after we see the shootout and the duels. And there's gonna be a couple of intermittent podcasts over the next year because it's not gonna fully shut down, but you might get some behind the
starting
wall
parking this
or over the wall or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be a start and park kind of deal. Exactly. And if there's anything major that happens news-wise or race-wise, we might throw together a short podcast since we're not getting the views to account for the time we're putting into this.
And
I mean,
Final
for us,
thoughts
like
on the
40
season.
minutes.
Final
thoughts on the
season.
season and thoughts on the podcast.
The big three didn't win the championship. I'm happy.
I agree.
I mean, I would have.
It,
Hashtag not my champion.
the hate for Logano from Amp is real.
Yeah.
Fuck 2018.
I would've been
go,
fine with,
Let's go to 2019.
I would have been fine with Truex winning just for the history on for Giroux and everything.
78.
But yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine with Logano winning. No problems with it at all.
The only thing I gotta say is I'm
Made
glad
things more
Kyle Busch
interesting.
did not win. That's really
Yeah.
I'm glad he got dead last in the championship 4, right where he belongs.
Oh yeah. We didn't run down the finishing order. It was Logano, then Truex, Harvick, and Kyle Busch. So all 4 of them top 4, and that seems to be a theme. I think
Yeah,
that was the
hopefully that
finishing
changes
order,
next year.
or was that just the points?
the points lined up with.
That was finishing order,
I think.
as
Okay.
well as they all finished in the top 4.
They really need to change Homestead, in my opinion. They got to move that track and put something more interesting in there.
We just
I
need
don't
new
think they need to
tracks.
get rid of Homestead as the championship
No,
track
they need to
because
move
it
it.
has I like Homestead. I think we just need to start it about a half hour to an hour earlier, so that way that bottom lane can be utilized for a little bit longer. Because once the night came in, that bottom lane was pretty much dead. But earlier in the day, that bottom lane was fucking working.
I just think we need something that's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah, they
track.
need a better track.
Yeah. Let's do it at Daytona. Fuck it.
No, Eldora.
I think they need to
Yeah.
get. No, I think they
Eldora.
need to make it a multi-parter system, like where maybe like a best of 3 kind of thing or something with multiple different
Yeah.
layouts. So you actually have to win at multiple layouts. You have to be good.
Yep.
Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, focus. If you can get there, all you have to do is focus on intermediate, and you're good to go. But
Yeah.
No, I have a better idea. Let's use the
make the
horse track.
Roval.
Let's use the horse track inside of Dover.
Let the horse track.
horse track. I'd be fine with that.
Let's make them go out on interstate and race.
Let's take him to
all
Daytona.
right, boys. We're
We'll
going to
tape
use
'em
Route
up
66,
50%.
Chicago to L.A.
Isn't that basically
First
what
one that-
Daytona originally was? Not.
yeah.
It was like basically a freaking giant interstate with banking.
And the
was a
original
beach.
Daytona races were raced on the beach.
Yep.
No,
that's
no,
all
I
it was,
mean,
is a beach.
when they made the actual track itself, it was like this freaking. It looked like a freaking interstate, just literally plastered.
Yeah.
Uh,
pretty much
sideways,
what it
like
looked like.
diagonally.
It's pretty much how it was
It was
built.
really wide and.
Yeah. Anyhow, this is us signing off for the season. But
Wait, final thoughts on the podcast.
final thoughts on the podcast itself. I feel like we put in good effort on it and stuff like that. I don't feel like we got the views we should have got, but hell, Ryan Blaney's podcast can't get that many views. I guess ours won't either. So
You got a lot more than us.
It's getting axed.
It's a handful.
We're gonna focus
Yeah.
on Let's Plays and
Yeah.
game modes,
things
and
to
video
do
games
and
shit,
yeah.
and some other
Video
interesting
games.
things that we have coming out.
We might come up with a
Other
couple
little
of
projects.
podcasts along the way that is just us sitting around bullshitting about random stuff.
And we have joked
So-
around about the initials for the Broken
Over the
Shifter
wall.
podcast, BSP. So we've been throwing around the idea of the Broken Shitter podcast.
Yeah, because it's broken.
And people shit all over. Actually, no, people can't even take the time to shit all over our parade in the comments section.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I don't have time for this shit.
But no, we have. Yeah, we're just gonna focus on video games and a couple off the
Video
wall
games,
stuff that we
video
have a
game
few ideas
accessories.
for that should be releasing next month. One we've already recorded.
Yeah. So, I guess this is signing off for the season, and I'm Hurdon.
I'm Carbon.
I'm Caboose.
I'm Amp.
Oh my god.
That
He
was
actually
some
said his
long
name.
pauses.
Amp had to think about the podcast a lot. He had a 1,000-yard stare going on, just hearing the
Yeah, I
sound.
guess.
Of
Shut
up, you weren't supposed to
backfiring
notice
and-
that.
Oh, boy.
Well, yep. Okay. See you in the award ceremony. Booyah.
Fuck it.
Rip.